The profile. I think I showed that in the.
But should I look for the log of the game or the server?
It's shared. It's both using the same files, unless you are using like separate profile, which is recommended in this case. Otherwise, uh, the game server and the workbench, they are all going to share the same profile.
Okay, maybe that I need your help with. Let's say what I have to do to make that
Yeah.
work.
But in the profile, this which contains Armory Forger data, there you have like uh, console log, error log, script log, and I will check error log and console log, and it can tell you something.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I should check the console log?
Probably. Okay.
On the server, I don't see. I don't see anything related to anybody trying to join.
On the
But I can make
server?
a.
That's
Yeah,
weird.
hold on. Wait. Oh, what the hell. Wait, I'll make a little pasty thingy. I can also give you a password you can try if you want. So if you filter for RHS and find RHS private 1, and then the password is
I can send that on channel. So, because I started streaming.
okay.
Let's see.
Yeah, that's the password.
Okay.
Or do you have to join first with the admin password? Or
Wait a moment. I'm trying to launch Steam right now.
I can try as well.
and my Reforger version 09551. Nope, failed.
Didn't work either.
Hello.
Hey, it says 2 players are joined. Why can't I join?
What build number did you say it was?
09551.
Same.
But you also got kicked off or not?
Just black loading screen and then the error message.
Yeah, same here.
Whoa. So I got the basic Abakan animations. But it's not working correctly, it seems.
La 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 la. The server also says 09551. Yeah. Yeah, I'm destroying the server and then let it restart quickly. What is the setting? Auto-joinable? That means that other people could connect to it without looking for it, or what does that mean?
Let me check the documentation.
Sounds like it might be like not through the server browser, but matchmaking.
Auto-joinable. Set if session can be selected through the auto-join feature. Ah, very good documentation.
Yeah. So there was that, like, it's quite often you have those like quick match buttons. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the purpose of that.
Okay.
So if you have those titles like conflict or game master, so it should search for this type of scenario and then connect to
Okay.
the server which has that option enabled.
Okay. Well, the config seems okay. I get some errors on animation. Player main AGR.
Let me try again. I had to
Wait.
close the workbench.
Yeah, I think it's still initializing. It's now on wait for preload world or something. Rain loaded. It does display a few failed to open errors, like entity failed to open.
But that's, let's say,
That's normal,
normal.
right? Yeah. Also not that many, it's like 3 or 4 or something. And then it says starting RPL server. Game successfully created. Okay, so at this point I think it should be okay to join.
Okay.
Unless I'm totally pasting the wrong password everywhere.
But I think it should be also logged in the console if you are trying to type wrong password.
Yeah, on the server console log, I don't see anything related to people trying to join. Yeah, connection failed again. Let me see, console error log. Yeah, error log only shows these entity create problems. Nope, 0 information. Oh, let me check the logs in the game locally. And for that, you say you have to go to your documents.
Games, Armor Reforger.
My games. My
Okay.
Reforger. The profile.
I see.
Kicked from game. Group 1, reason 3. Event disconnected.
Could you try to verify data on the Steam?
That would be weird that both Beck and you as well would have the same problem, no? Or you mean on the server?
On your like game data, because you are kicked like, as a client, right?
Yeah, I can try. Yeah, I'm being kicked as a client. Yeah, it says that I was kicked. And then it only says group 1, reason 3. Maybe Beck is just logged in and trying to kick me all the time. Scripted chat entity is not present in the world. Sending messages will not work. No game mode preset in the world using fallback logic.
Okay. So then basic animations for the mod backend seems to work.
You're not sharing your screen on.
It's on the Twitch, so if you want to.
Okay. The Twitch. I'm gonna see if I can get this to work, and then I need to go. So what animations are you building?
For the Abakan,
Uh-huh.
the weapon animations.
The hell? Yeah, the Abacan. Okay, the last gun added in Arma 3 is gonna be the first gun added in Reforger. I mean, makes sense, but.
No. I see. We'll have to cheat again. Animation stopped to work when I tried to reload because in the animation workspace I have like animations for the weapon, but only for the firing.
Mm-hmm.
And character has like the full set. So what happened? The animation graph tried to play the reload animations, and it was stuck on missing animations on the weapon side. You have to fill both on the animations on the weapon and the character, and as I mentioned on the one of the streams, that even if the animation on the character is empty, you still have to do empty animation which has like exact amount of the frames as the weapon animation. So if you have those like zeroing animations, then it has to match. Then you have to create character animation, which is doing completely nothing, but it has to use the same amount of frames as the weapon will.
It's so complicated.
Yeah. But since I want to see some effects, I will do a cheat and just copy paste the animations from the 8K, and I hope it's going to work because I also sometimes it's not working very well. It might just break the gun. And probably I will try to use something from the sample weapons. And for instance, the firing animation, the character one, is using just 3 frames, so I also had to do 3 frames for the weapon. And I should also animate the...
And are the frames defining the timing then, in this case now?
Yes. Or
So you would what would you try to do if your game is running 60 FPS? That means that how many that 3 frames will take 60 divided by, or 3 over 60?
yeah, like the interpolation between the frames, it's handled by the engine. But those frames are used as a reference in this case. The position of the bones when like you had that reload animation in Reforger, and here it's like a bit more visual, I will say.
Okay, but so you can still define the timing. This could take over a minute or
Yes, like
three
it's
300th of a
tied.
second.
It's tied to like uh, reload time. So you are defining the rate of fire.
Okay.
So it's like synchronized to the state of the weapon, how
Yeah.
much it's reloaded.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Nice.
But something is incorrect. And I didn't save. Or probably this one also needs to use.
Okay. Gonna try for the last time to join, but is no worky. Then I have to try again tomorrow. Hey, that's my helmet.
Indeed.
Yeah. Okay, once I'm done with the pipeline, I'm gonna try to get the other versions of the helmet in. Because I have what, four more?
Okay, so rest of the animations are broken as expected. The bolt position, yeah, it's incorrect. The iron sight are also incorrect, but at least the basics are working.
Poofu, are you okay? You should be able to unmute yourself now. Sorry.
Yeah, cheers. That's okay. I was speaking to myself and I was like, okay, maybe that doesn't work.
Ah, wait. Poof, can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, no. Okay, sorry. I didn't know I gave you like a ban mute. That's my
Yeah.
bad. Yeah, the server's not working. I don't know why. Maybe is the password copy pasting is not.
Maybe try
I-
some like simple password. I will
Like
try in a
S?
moment to join.
Doesn't work.
Doesn't work. Yeah, I checked files both locally and on this server also. Okay. Okay.
Okay, so I will try to do another animation. I should also try to do proper naming for those animations. So let's see.
Really? Mhm.
And now I will do bold animation.
The hell, I changed the password and now it's telling me it's the wrong password.
You might also need to restart it.
No, I restarted the server. I shouldn't need to restart the game to.
No, not again.
Fuck my life. The hell? Nope. Okay. Doesn't want to work. All right, I gotta go.
Yeah, man.
Sorry, guys. No server tonight unless somebody wants to.
But can I like use the remote desktop to connect to that and then tinker with
Yeah,
that?
yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so you can send me like data for that, and I will try later.
Sure. Yeah, I will do it. All right, thanks, guys. I'll see you later.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Okay, so this is also 3 frames. Or because I now want to export like the bold pose for this rifle, I need to select proper layer preset. There is currently some limitation in this plugin, so the plugin itself is not looking for profiles that you created in the add-on. So in this case, I had to do some dirty hack to be able to detect this animation export profile. And the difference in that export profile is like quite small. So there is that barrel in the AN94, which we want to also have in the animation, and it's not like present in default weapon rifles fire animation export. So I added that bone to the export profile, so it's now also exported. Okay, I forget that you can open multiple windows of the animation editor. So, okay. It is supposed to have just... Okay. I didn't click, so let's start the export. Yes, I'm going to update because it's still using the old name. And hopefully now the old should look fine when you have that weapon in the hand. Yep. So this is done. So now it will be time for the side animations. And as I mentioned a couple times, the length of this animation should be in sync with the character, but also this animation should have as much frames as you have zeroing modes. So I don't remember exactly how many modes it has. Six. So it should have 6 frames. And I will have to create empty animation for the character. But this is quite easy. I'm not sure if... And there is also that annoying thing, because I'm not sure how to define amount of the frames per action. Like, it seems it's always shared. So usually if there are like some animations which have different number of frames, I'm just exporting that single animation. Okay, that will be quite interesting to set. Ah, shit. Okay. Oh, I'm not going to export those animations because they have different length now. Hmm. And the iron sight itself, I think it has to be modified because it's not using the method that, like, when you are like rotating that, the like viewing point is stays the same all the time, and instead it should like force you to raise your eye a little, raise your head a little bit, so you are like looking at the front iron side certain angle. But let's say for now it will be okay. Most likely it's going to break because of the animation desynchronization. Hmm. Ah,
Nice.
I know.
We should go. Yeah. Go the other way.
That is defining like the face of the animation. So 0 is like the beginning of the animation. No, I had to divide 5 frames by 1 by 5. Ah, so it's not working like that. Or actually, it was quite easy. Or not? No. Wait, come on. Okay. Ah, here is. Okay. So now it's working. And you can notice that camera position is changing, but the iron sight itself is not adjusted to that, so I think the mesh should be adjusted. But for now, I would say it's okay. There is that cheat menu or debug menu, which can be activated by holding Windows and Alt, or Windows and Control. Personally, I don't use the combination with the Control because when the menu is navigated with like arrows on the keyboard, so when we are holding Windows and Control on Windows 11 or even on Windows 10, it tends to move the whole current window, like the workbench window, to a different place. Okay. So if I want to use this reload animation, like the character one, I should also make reload action bold animation. Trigger also needs to be animated correctly. This I even don't remember what it is doing. Okay. 34 frames. And this is called rock bolt. Okay. No. This is barrel. This is bolt. And like I'm trying to mimic the timing of the original animation. So Okay. So that should be a correct rock animation. Fuck. Oh, what the hell? I know what. Well, so most likely I was animating the wrong thing. Yeah. Mm. Saved. Uh, Old probably will be enough. Okay. Almost. But probably the issue is with the character animation itself.
I've seen there are still issues with the animation for the characters. There are times where the elbow just breaks all the way down to the forehand.
What do you mean exactly?
I think it has something to do with the eye case. Not on this particular gun. I've seen it happening on some of the earlier mods where it breaks from the elbow. It just elbow goes inside. I think it has to do with the eye case. I haven't checked that.
Yes, that's the
Whenever it
thing.
goes the other way around, it just breaks from the elbow.
Yeah, the thing is, like, I reusing existing Ikai pose, and I noticed it today. someone reported that there are issues with exporting IK animations from the Blender, and indeed there seems to be some issue. I need to investigate that, but tomorrow will most likely still work on moving documentation to wiki, and then I will have some time to take a look what is wrong with the AK exporter. But yes, there is that issue. Basically, in the animation for like the AK pose, I think it should be there. Not the anim file. There are those like animations for like this is extremely important, and which
Yeah, I can see that. Let me just.
yeah, like
Yes,
if you
no,
want,
the
you can
target.
try
Okay.
to edit that in the text editor and try to fine-tune that, but with the current Blender exporter, it's outputting some weird values, and I remember it was fixed because I was asking for that, so I'll have to take a look. Not sure what got broken in the meantime. But as a workaround, you can just copy paste this and then try to manually adjust the translation. This because it's like translation and quaternions, like the rotation in the quaternions. So
Okay.
perhaps I can show that on the sample weapon. Like I wanted to show that actually today, but I noticed that issue, so it needs to be resolved first. Now it looks more or less okay. And now this is for the sample weapon, yeah. Maybe this one. Okay, that's not very spectacular. Or maybe it was this one. Oh. Am I? Yeah, that's correct. Ah, Okay, I don't remember which one it was exactly, but it's really tied to those animations. Okay, the presentation how to make broken animations is not very successful, so I will carry on with making working animations instead.
With making what?
Working animations.
I still couldn't figure out the animation process, but that's okay. I'll ask next time.
Yeah, but I think that I hope that you get the idea how to make animations. So we have Blender-wise, it's called actions. So you are animating everything and then exporting such action as animation file. In such animation file, you have like so maybe let's get back to Abakan. The TXA of the firing animations. So this is basically this. So you could think about that like as some sort of model CFG. Like I made that plugin for exporting model CFG from the Macs, and in principle, it's really similar how you are animating things.
Mm-hmm. Okay, it just translates through the bone. Okay.
Yeah.
But
The big
can I
advantage.
simply open the files with the text editor? Yeah.
What do you mean? Could you repeat?
It's plotting text. Yeah. Never mind. Being blonde.
Okay. Like yeah, this editor is exporting the animation in text format, but like when animators are doing animations in the motion builder, they are just exporting the FBX, and then in the workbench you can import FBX as animation. Like you probably notice when we are importing some stuff, it's asking you, is it that FBX a model or an animation? Since
Yeah.
motion builder decided that yeah, FBX is everything, both models and animations. So in Max, if you will do some like animations like that, and you will export that animation, like you.
Yeah. It's gonna ask me if the FBX is an animation. I already tried that. It asked me if the importer asked me if the FBX is a model or it's an animation. Yeah.
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 But you can try you made that prop, the RHS logo, the red one, which is like turning.
Yeah.
So you could
Yeah, the
try
turning one.
to make animation like and what is really cool about making animations in like 3D software is the fact that you can have really some non-linear and really interesting animations.
Does that translate correctly this time around? Because last time I could only export linear animations, so I can have I don't know non-linear workflow, non-linear animations this time around. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Well,
So, for instance, can I have something that most of the software I have used have an animation graph, and you can
yeah,
set the bezier corners for that particular animation. So you can start slow, and then just using 2 frames, it
yeah.
can just pick up the pace. That didn't used to work back in the Arma 3 days. Can I use that sort of workflow this time around?
I think so. I'm not sure, but
It might usually it might. I mean, it might take frame by frame instead of interpolating those
yeah,
particular frames.
I think that when you will export that, you'll have to export that and do like every frame has like a keyframe, and that will like control the speed.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that the animations for the characters and some of the weapons, they are not linear, so there must be some way. Like I'm not sure exactly if it's going to work in Blender and or how to make that work in Blender, but it should be possible.
Yeah, I'll give it a try. I'll try something simple. I already managed to get the water can and the fuel can in
Yeah.
to set up the textures, get the prefabs working, because there's already a jerry can inside. So I had a template to work on. I'll try something more complicated, and then I'll try a scope, and then I'll probably try the M16 and 18.
Okay.
If I get that to work, I'll eventually get it into Arma 3 as well. Just need to finish texturing it.
Okay. All right.
I'll do the handguns work this time, because last time can I have more freedom in terms of animations for handguns?
Yes, I think that you could even try to do dual
One hand.
wielding or one hand.
Can you do dual wielding this time? That would be awesome.
I think so. Like you can have two items in the hands. Like you have flashlight and the weapon pistol, but I'm not sure if it's going to fire from the both weapons if you won't manage to do something like that. Like I remember that someone posted some like picture of the joke with two weapons, but I'm not sure if he made that working. But probably with some scripting, you will be able to do that.
I won't. You will. As long as I can get my, assets in a quality form in this one, and make some prefabs, and eventually get my head around the animation system, especially the reload animation, because I guess that's way easier this time. I'll be happy. Is it? It just needs to animate the bones.
Yeah, like getting synchronization of the character and the weapon, that is going to be quite, or setting a scene would be the most difficult thing, but once you get a scene, then you are just moving the bones, and that's not that hard, especially if you have like some animation rig with like AK constraints and things like that. Like, I'm not sure if there will be a possibility to prepare something for Max, because I think that will be also quite nice. But the Blender plugins, the Blender rig still needs some improvements. Like the AK animations is not working right now, so that needs to be fixed first.
I guess I'll see if maybe you guys can, because I'm pretty sure you have a motion builder
Yes.
rig.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we can find a way to get hands on that. fact is that, I mean, that should work pretty nicely in 3D Max. I don't know how it works. I mean, I've seen rigs translated from Motion Builder to Maya, and with a bit of a hiccup, because that's how those software works, or don't. I could use it just fine. So yeah, we'll see. If I find, I mean, getting a rig up in 3D Max shouldn't be much of a problem. I want to see if I can get quickly a rig for, I don't know, something different, and see if that the cat bones do translate correctly. They should translate correctly through FBX into Workbench this time.
Yeah.
It's basically the same.
Okay.
Also, another question, because I've seen most people are using picture-in-picture feature for the scopes, especially for the for the normal dots. Is that mandatory? I mean, do you actually need picture-in-picture for I don't know, like for UFX? I mean, for one. For a single zoom scope like EOTech
No.
and everything else in between. I don't think it does. I mean, I've seen some on the workshop that are using picture-in-picture, even though the zoom there's actually no zoom whatsoever. It's just on 1x.
I think they were lazy.
Okay.
Or maybe they found that easier. Like, I didn't manage to finish that feature, but on the sample weapon I wanted to do the iron sights, which you can take off like this. Those are like two separate objects.
Oh yeah, from the modern thing, yeah.
Yeah. And what you can do is to like define the size component, so you can even do some various attachments for the iron sight. And if you have some iron sights, it's basically the same as some collimator. But there is one thing: there is no like that's nice collimator shader in Arma 3. I don't think it's there yet. So you will have to use this probably some weird trick as in early Arma 3 times. But that might be quite hard to do. So such Z sorting. There are like some controls for that, for like sorting of things, but there is no view pilot, so this fake reticle might really produce some weird effects. But then you could also try to script that, because with the pips code, the reticle is scripted, the movement of the reticle. So yeah, a lot of things are actually scripted in this game. Alright, so I think that will be it for me for today. I will commit the file, so if someone wants to take a look at how I made that those Abakan animations, then you can check that. There will be like that blend file. That's it. So have a nice evening, everyone.